Hello, welcome back to Mina's Bookshelf. Today I'm doing a follow-up video to my previous reading about the disappearance of the Pittsburgh University student Sudiksha Konanki. It's been about a month, and if you want to take a look at my previous reading, there is actually no answer to this mystery. Unfortunately, the case has been dropped. It seems like everybody has accepted her disappearance as an accidental drowning, but there are two things that are not sitting well with me. One of them is that the body hasn't washed ashore, which is very hard to understand and highly, highly suspicious because it's been happening before in that same area in Punta Cana in Dominican Republic, the same resort. Other four tourists died, unfortunately, drowning. All their bodies washed ashore in a matter of days. And somebody might say, okay, her body got stuck somewhere, got eaten by a fish. Something would have emerged. Something would have showed up on the beach, on the shore. Her bathing suit, unfortunately, part of her body, something. It's really hard to believe that weeks after this accidental drowning, her body hasn't come back to shore. And the other thing is that the other gentleman involved, the last person who saw her alive, didn't have a clear explanation, convincing, clear explanation for what happened between the two of them the early morning when she disappeared during this stroll on the beach. Supposedly they went into the water, they got hit by a big wave, he lost control, he tried to save her, he did save her, but he didn't bring her to shore. Just saw her walking away, he got sick and fell asleep and slept for hours. And the fact that he kind of gave so many conflicting versions of this story, it should raise a big red flag. The other thing that really strikes me, but maybe I can find an explanation for that, is that the fact that Sudiksha Konanki's parents have accepted her death, actually kind of rushed a little too quickly in accepting the Joshua Reeves, the young gentleman that supposedly was with her the night she disappeared. They were too quick in accepting his version, in accepting the idea that they have lost their daughter forever and there's no body, there's no real explanation for anything. I do understand there might be a cultural component. That might, everybody goes through their grief in different ways. Maybe that's the way for them to deal with it, to allow Sudiksha's soul to transition to the afterlife in peace, or maybe because there's a sense of decency, they don't want to expose their daughter to the prying eye of the public, also because of the circumstances all this happened. There's absolutely no judgment. A young, vibrant, beautiful 20-year-old girl. 20-year-old people do what 20-year-old people do. But anyway, let's get into the reading. If you take a look at the playlist of my videos, you will find the reading that I did about this case just right before this one. So I have a few questions for the tarot. I'm going to use two tarot decks and an oracle deck. I might use also the tea leaf reading cards and maybe a couple of other oracle decks. So I'm just going to start with the oracle, and I'm going to try to read these cards more intuitively as I can, based also a lot on the images, which I found also very helpful sometimes in giving me my answers. So I might not read the cards according to the book, the traditional way. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So my main question is for the oracle. I really ask the spirit guides from the pure white light, guardian angels, heavenly saints, to protect me during my reading and provide me with clarity, guidance, and inspiration. So what is the general energy of this disappearance? What do we need to know? other thing that I'm gonna ask the card is also something about the friends on either side, both Joshua's friends and Sudiksha's friends, because I find their behavior also questionable and neglectful. In the best of cases, it's reckless and neglectful, and they should have taken better care of each other, in my humble opinion. So what do we need to know? What is the energy of this whole situation, of disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki? What do we need to know, Spirit? What do we need to know? This card wants to be seen. To the grave, secrets. Oh dear. Well, not surprised to see this card. This is the very innocent, naive, unfortunately, energy of Sudiksha Konanki. I'm afraid that there's no hope to ever find her alive. And I do believe that she unfortunately passed to a better life. And the energy is of secrets. There's something we don't know, something we don't see. Somebody has put a big stone on the truth. Might be that somebody is not telling the truth. Somebody's omitting the truth, hiding something. We rarely unearth bodies in a cemetery, so hopefully it's not the case, but it feels like really they have put a stone on the grave here, and they have no intention to reopen the case or dig even further. But they should, because the truth is there. This could also, and I'm talking about an interview that I saw with somebody working for the resort in Punta Cana, where Sudiksha, and Joshua Reeves were staying. According to this worker, she didn't drown. It was not an accidental drowning. She might have been buried under the sand. The sand in that particular location is very soft. A person alone, and certainly a nice, healthy, big boy like Joshua Reed, might have easily, or anybody else, I'm not making any accusations, I'm just speculating. By the way, this is a reading for speculation purposes only. Tarot don't state facts, they just read energies. Anybody might have easily dug a hole in a very short time and hit the body. And this would explain, this hypothesis would explain why the body of Sudiksha didn't wash ashore. So to the grave, secrets, the spirits, respecting the spirit. So spirit wants to tell me also that maybe it's the case to just set a stone on this situation and stop asking, stop digging, respecting the spirit, which is this pretty much the energy of the parents, and maybe what guided them in their decision to put an end to the investigations, just accept the situation for what it is. Nothing's going to bring this girl back. At least this is what they think, I believe. So why to create even more drama and have other people suffer? And I do respect that. But we want to know the truth, also for another reason. If this disappearance was not an accident and was, which could be, caused by either mischievous action, ill intention, or even just neglect, we need to address it. The authorities need to address it, because you don't want this situation to happen again. You don't want history to repeat. And as we know, for example, the case of Natalie Holloway, who disappeared in Aruba many years ago. Obviously, the suspect, the main suspect, was the perpetrator of a crime. Somehow they had to let him go. 17 years later, he kills again another young student. Thank God he was caught, and he's now in jail paying for both crimes. But what if the second murder didn't happen, or he found a way to commit a crime and not being caught again, escaping the law, getting off the hook again? He would have killed again. So let's pull some cards. So my first question is, why did the authority close the case, dismissed it so quickly as an accidental drowning? Page of Swords. This is a card that invites you to be more discerning and question this decision. There is actually more that needs to be investigated. The Hermit. This is the investigation itself. Maybe they haven't dropped the ball. Maybe this is what they've been telling the media. Maybe this is what they think the public should know for some reason. Maybe an investigation is still going on. There is somebody that is still wondering. There is somebody that is still searching for answers. Or maybe this is, guidance for us, an invitation for us to keep questioning, because there's something that we need to know. Something we need to, a couple more cards. Let's see, what else do we need to know? Why the local authorities of the Dominican Republic closed the case, declaring it as accidental death by drowning. Why? What's behind all this? What's the explanation for such a rushed decision? You have the Queen of Wands in reverse, the Four of Wands in reverse, and the Three of Wands in reverse. Bottom of the deck, the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords made an appearance also in my previous reading about Sudiksha. Being restrained. Somebody's hands are tied. I don't know if this is Sudiksha energy. Maybe this is a card that gives us a hint to what happened to her, the circumstances of her death, being restrained, being imprisoned, being constrained. This could be also the energy around the authorities in the Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, there's something they cannot do. Their hands are tied. And although there's a desire here, there was an intention or a will on their part to continue investigating, to try to shed a light, because there are things that need to be unearthed. There are details that are not clear. However, this is lack of results. Lack of results with the Four of Wands, lack of success with Four of Wands and Three of Wands in reverse. Who is this Queen of Wands? This could be also the energy of Sudiksha, and it's in reverse because her body hasn't been found. And, without the body, they don't have access to DNA. They don't, from the examination you can do on the body of this deceased person, victim of a crime, you can sometimes even understand what the motivation of the crime could be. So the lack of the body might be what stopped them. Why did Sudiksha's parents accepted her death so quickly, when it seemed in the beginning like they were searching for answers too? They were not, so sure that it was just an accidental drowning. These cards fell out in reverse. We have the King of Wands in reverse. We have the Emperor in reverse. This is father's energy. So if this is Sudiksha's energy, the Queen of Wands in reverse because her body was never found, this could be the energy of the father and the Hangman. I think because it was more of Sudiksha's father decision, maybe, to put an end to the agony, just dropping the case, stop making answers, stopping the investigation, decided to declaring her dead, because he maybe didn't want to be stuck, he didn't want to wait. This is something that I heard on here on YouTube regarding the family's decision to put an end to the investigation. For them, the investigation would have just kept the Sudiksha Konanki's spirit to transition to the afterlife peacefully. She would have been stuck in a sort of limbo if they didn't accept her death. One more card. Why did they accept her death and so quickly dismiss the case? The Star. Yes, this is about healing. For them, it would have been very difficult to heal as a family, and it would have been very difficult for Sudiksha's soul to transition to a better, I don't know exactly what kind of spirituality they follow, but if it is what I think, they probably believe in, the transition of the soul to a higher level, and it wouldn't have been possible for them to heal and for Sudiksha to do this transition if they just kept her, her energy, her spirit stuck here on earth with an investigation. So this might be the reason why the family decided to accept the status quo and accept her death as accidental drowning. The other question is about I want to tell something about Joshua Reeves. We have the Five of Wands in reverse, the Five of Cups, the Temperance. One more. And the Page of Cups in reverse. I think that he wasn't, this young man was not willing to defend himself, to continue struggling. I think it's like he's giving up on something. He's withdrawing from the fight. It might be that he's remorseful. Could it be he's seeking healing as well as trying to regain balance, forgiveness? Page of Cups, this is a very immature energy. And in my previous reading, the energy of the so-called the Fool, the Child, appeared as an archetype from different decks. All the decks that I used had that child energy. This is immaturity. You pull some more cards. What's going to happen to this guy? We have a Strength card in reverse, the Chariot in reverse. A lot of cards in reverse. Yeah. Two more, please. Two more cards about the connection between this guy and the disappearance of Sudiksha. The Sun in reverse. Oh my goodness. I do not shuffle reversals in my decks, and there's a lot of cards in reverse. The Sun in reverse and the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. There is another piece of information that raised a lot of red flags, and it's a money transaction, a financial transaction that happened immediately after, the morning after the disappearance of Sudiksha. Apparently, Joshua received a large amount of money, possibly by his family. Somebody's talking about $30,000. Somebody else is talking about $60,000, even just $30,000. Translated in Dominican Republic local currency. It's a lot of money. Even for, let's say, immediate legal assistance. He received the money even before being questioned. He actually received the money and tried to leave the Punta Cana to go back home. Before even the news came out about the disappearance of this girl, before he was stopped by the local authorities and questioned. So why did he need so much money the morning after? And what did he do with it? It would be interesting to see who received a a large amount of money, and for what? Now, he was detained here, right? He wasn't able to leave. The Chariot in reverse. Inability to make a decision, lacking the strength, lacking the power, lacking the courage. With the Sun in reverse, something will remain in the dark. There is no light being shed. These things are not being exposed. Queen of Pentacles. And this is the financial component. The way I read this card is about, wealth, money being given away, because the Queen of Pentacles is in reverse. The Queen of Pentacles upright for me is acquiring wealth and assets and material things. Here there's an action that goes in the opposite direction. It's about giving money for somebody not to reveal something. A question about the friends. What do the friends know? What is their involvement? What is their participation in all this? What do they know about the disappearance of Sudiksha? We have a Five of Swords in reverse. We have the Magician in reverse. Very interesting. We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Eight of Pentacles. Take one more card. Judgment. Five of Swords and Magician, especially when in reverse. This is evil intent. This is somebody that is up to no good. Manipulation. Manipulation of the truth. Ill-dignified actions. Jealousy, envy. Mean-spiritedness. I don't know who this person is in this circle of friends on one side or the other, but that's not good. Five of Pentacles. This is a card that normally in the upright has the energy of reaching out for help and community around you that is able to support you and assist you in difficult times. Now this card is in reverse. These people didn't offer any support to the victim, to poor Sudiksha. Eight of Pentacles and the Judgment. I think that it's not over yet. I mean, as I had a chance to say somewhere else on social media, if somebody is responsible for this, whether because of neglect or because of ill intent, and they escaped the earthly justice, they won't escape the divine justice. Something will happen at some point where they will have to face the music. This thing is not going to go away for some of these people. What is this Eight of Pentacles? Ten of Swords in reverse. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And I have a strong feeling that somebody here might have somehow assisted, helped, or they even just know, or there was no purity of intent here. They knew what was going on. Four of Pentacles in reverse on the bottom of the deck. And Nine of Swords. Ten of Pentacles. Knight of Wands. Certainly this group of people here is pretty anxious. And there's something, I mean, I think they're burdened by what they're holding in, what they're keeping to themselves. Somebody here knows, somebody here needs to speak, and for some reason they are not. Actually, let me ask the cards. Maybe I should use a different deck, another deck. Why are the friends not speaking out? Sudiksha's friends, Joshua Reeves' friends. I don't know if the way I pronounce his last name is correct. Why they're not speaking out? Is there something they know and they're holding, omitting something, hiding something? Do they know something? Queen of Cups. This is Sudiksha's energy. She's coming out in my readings always as the Queen of Cups. So what do they know about her? What did they do or say? The Lovers. This could be a card that refers to the, let's say, the flirtation happening between Sudiksha and Joshua Reeves. Knight of Swords. There's a sense of recklessness here and foolishness. Maybe she was too reckless because she accepted to go and take a walk on a dark beach with a guy that she had just met in a bar when she was under the influence of alcohol. Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands in reverse. Well, obviously they think that she shouldn't have risked so much. She shouldn't have taken the risk. She shouldn't have done what she did, whatever it is that she did, except drinking a lot, accepting to flirt with a guy. And believe me, this comment is not, I don't want to diminish her in any way. As I said before, very young person, taking a vacation after, months and months of hard studying in college. I mean, but certainly they think or believe that she was too reckless. She shouldn't have, taken this risk here with the Ace of Wands in reverse and the Page of Wands and the Two Swords. She should have said no, but why didn't they? That's my question. Why didn't they hold her back? Maybe they tried. What do we know? Maybe they tried. The Moon in reverse. There's a secret here, revealing a secret. Maybe they tried to convince her and she didn't accept. She just decided to do things her own way. All right, I would like to review the entire thing using another deck. Maybe ask the cards one more time to give us illuminate us, to give us some explanation for the energies of what happened the night of her disappearance. I'm going to use the tea leaf cards. Just take these readings with a grain of salt, as they say. I'm not an expert. I don't have access to the facts. I'm just asking the cards, the tarot, to give us an explanation. I'm just reading energies. I'm not stating facts. To the grave, secrets. So what do we need to know about the disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki? Affairs with your family. So family, what do we need to know? Well, I'll read these cards as metaphors, because all oracle cards should actually be read like that, not in a literal sense. Affairs with your family. This could be the connection to the family, connection to the friends as well. Persevere and you will overcome problems. I mean, this is telling me that maybe the family should not drop the ball on this thing. They should actually persevere in trying to discover, to find out the truth about the disappearance of Sudiksha. A rat, someone working against you behind your back. Somebody doesn't want to reopen this investigation. Somebody's working actually against it. Secret admirer. This is somebody acting, I mean, I'm reading it in the sense of somebody lurking in the dark, observing secretly from outside, and definitely somebody that is working against, doesn't want the family to continue with the investigation. Very interesting. I'm gonna put these cards here. So this is a message about the family. Somebody has an interest in letting things go and sweeping the dust under the rug, so to speak. So let's test the cards one more time, Spirit Guides from the Pure White Light, to give us some more details about the disappearance. What happened to Sudiksha Konanki the night she disappeared? What happened? Two of Pentacles, the Wheel again. The Wheel appeared also in the other reading. The King of Cups, again, I think this is Joshua Reeves, or anybody else who was in that environment, on the beach, somebody who had been drinking, somebody who had a romantic interest in Sudiksha, somebody with a boat, somebody in this water environment. The resort, somebody working on the resort. Knight of Swords. One more. The Page of Swords. Four of Swords on the bottom. This Page of Swords appears again. It was also in the previous reading, the one that I just did with the other cards. There was a Page of Swords. It was the first card that I drew from the Wild Reflection deck. And this is an invitation from Spirit to dig deeper. They shouldn't be accepting, the family shouldn't be accepting this as her death as an accidental drowning. There's more to be found, to be seen, to be found out, to be learned in this situation. We need to dig deeper. There is the involvement with somebody here, this King of Cups energy. In the reading that I did a few days ago, for me, this was the energy of the person she was involved with, the person she was with that the night she disappeared. And as we all know, the only person that it appears also on cameras was Joshua Reeves. And then again, the Wheel. This idea of something coming and going, returning, moving in circular ways, fated event. It could be also a fated event. Why do we have the Two of Pentacles? What is this Two of Pentacles? Like waiting for something, procrastinating a decision, stalling, considering two possible options. So what I'm seeing here is that I believe she was too rushed, too hasty in deciding to take a stroll on the beach with this King of Cups. This Two of Pentacles gives me the idea that she was not really convinced in the beginning. Maybe she was debating within herself. Should I go on the beach and take a stroll with this guy or not? Should I trust him or should I not? Should I take this chance or not? And unfortunately she did. But it looks like this is reckless energy, a reckless decision. She rushed into this decision. She should have asked herself a few more questions before accepting to find a quiet spot on a dark beach with this man. Six of Swords. A boat. One of the possible theories is that maybe Joshua didn't really have any responsibility. It might be that maybe he was telling the truth, that he actually saw her alive but not completely out of the water, and that he actually felt ill and fell asleep on the beach, and that maybe somebody else might have taken her, maybe kidnapped her, transported her away with a boat. Could it be? Maybe she was still in the water. Maybe another wave, high wave, more surf, dragged her away, far away, and somebody snatched her. She might have been kidnapped by somebody. Who could it be out there with boats not too far away from the shore that might have seen her and helped her, but actually somebody who could not be trusted? Somebody with a boat, a fisherman, maybe fisherman. Maybe fisherman took her, alive or dead. Could it be? Four of Wands. And Ace of Cups. Well, if this is the way I'm going to read these cards, that there was actually a boat that took her on the boat and kidnapped her. This is positive energy, though. Four of Wands and Ace of Cups. This is happiness, gratification. This is a very cheerful energy. It's a celebration. Somebody being happy about something. The Three of Wands. Somebody who was looking. Somebody who was looking. The Star in reverse. The Nine of Wands in reverse. And the Five of Swords. 10 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Which is not a good energy, because this is the energy of, things ending quite disappointingly, quite tragically. But I have the feeling maybe somebody was observing from a boat. I wondered if they questioned fishermen. Those are the only people who could be out there so early in the morning, because the last time that she was seen alive was around 4 a.m. in the morning, 4:30 a.m. So supposedly whatever happened to her that caused her disappearance happened at that time of the day. Fishermen boats are out. Maybe they did see what happened. They did see her. But this is like an underhanded, shady energy here with the Seven of Swords and the Star in reverse. Is doing things in the dark, Was she kidnapped? We have the Four of Wands clarified by the Nine of Wands. She was not resisting. This would be the card that says that she was enduring it, whatever was happening to her, that she was resisting, that she was holding her barriers up. She was defenseless. She basically was very vulnerable and defenseless, and somebody maybe rejoiced about the fact that she was so weak and so vulnerable and defenseless. Page of Swords, Ace of Cups, and Five of Swords. The Five of Swords energy again. This is a very negative, mean, possibly violent energy. Abuse of some sort. Abuse of some sort. And 10 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. The Five of Cups and the Seven of Wands. Either way, however you look at it, whether if it was Joshua Reeves somehow involved in this, or maybe somebody else standing by and witnessing this whole thing, and I really believe it's possible, because I cannot accept the fact that at that time, and this is what other people have been saying all along to people that live on these resorts, work on these resorts, or even guests, they would tell you that even at that time early in the morning, there's no way that nobody saw anything. Somebody must have seen. Is it really possible that maybe fishermen in the area might have seen what was going on? Let me pull a couple of cards from other oracle decks. I'm going to pull a couple of cards from the Quantum Oracle. So what do we need to know about the disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki? I will pull more cards from the tarot also to ask what comes next. So what is the energy? What do we need to know about the events that led to the disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki? Back and forth. I have the feeling that we haven't heard the last word about this thing. Deception, again. Deception. There's no doubt that somebody here is hiding the truth, omitting the truth, telling some lies, victim mentality. Bottom of the deck, discovery. I'm glad to see this card because this could be an happy success. This could be the card that tells me that there is potential for the truth to come out. This victim, I'm looking at this word is really important to me right now. This could be Sudiksha's energy. I do have the feeling it's just a matter of time. Do you see this hourglass here? The sand glass, the sand watch, whatever it's called. It's just a matter of time. Somebody feeling imprisoned here. Somebody feeling imprisoned. If it is true, like somebody has been claiming, and like some of these cards might be pointing at, if she was really kidnapped and taken away by boat, possibly she's alive. She's in prison now. I also remember seeing the Eight of Swords here somewhere on the table. Detained somewhere, imprisoned, restrained, unable to move. Hopefully she's alive and somehow they will find her. The truth will come out. A few more cards from the energy spirit deck. What else do we need to know? My table is a mess, I'm sorry, but this is how I do my readings. I like to keep all the cards on the table. What do we need to know about the disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki? Soulful appreciation, heartfelt gratitude. Again here, this money, financial assets aspect here. Currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings. And journey guide, traveled, change in location. Mental clarity. Well, very interested in this card. Shows its face. What if she was really kidnapped? Or if her body, alive or dead, whatever, was actually moved somewhere. And this is why the body didn't wash ashore. It's because somebody might have taken her away by boat. Travel, changing location. Maybe she was kidnapped. This is the energy of what was going on that night, the crashing waves, the surf. And there's monetary interest. You know, some people have been talking about human trafficking. It's something that unfortunately is common nowadays everywhere, not just in that area of the world. Every day, everywhere, honestly. Not just there. What if she really was actually saved by somebody else? Or at least this is what she thought, if she was aware and alive. She thought that maybe somebody was saving her, but in reality, this boat took her somewhere else, and there is financial gain for somebody here. Unfortunately, this is what comes up to mind. The other reflection that I did, and I'm going to question the cards anyway about this, is that the local authorities might have dropped the case, but what if our authorities, the American authorities, the FBI, is still conducting an investigation? They do not advertise that stuff. Actually, they don't want the public to know because it's actually more useful to them not to reveal if there's an investigation going on, because they hope that the perpetrators of a crime, if there was one, and I say if with a big if, might feel less under scrutiny, and they might feel free to operate or do something and leave more traces of their crimes around. Is it possible? It is possible. Naturally, the Dominican Republic has every interest in keeping this hush-hush, because the wealth of the country, the economy of that little country, it depends entirely on tourism. And the last thing they want to do is to blow up the proportions of this tragedy and attracting negative publicity, because that would be a big hit to their economy. But let me ask one more time, if there's somebody who's still investigating, if there's any hope that somebody will actually try to dig deeper and get to the bottom of this situation. I'm gonna ask the same deck. Spirit guides from the pure wildlife, please give me clarity. Is somebody, Two of Cups, Five of Pentacles, and a High Priestess in reverse. Secret, revealing a secret. Is there any chance that maybe somebody is currently or will conduct an investigation, get to the bottom, discover the truth, find out what happened for real, what truly happened to Sudiksha Konanki? Will the authorities, whether in the Dominican Republic or in the US, dig deeper in this case? I feel like I want to cut the deck for this. We have the sun. Things will be illuminated. Light will be shed on the truth. That was a big yes. Justice on the bottom. Oh yeah. Somebody's not giving up. I have the feeling somebody's continuing. The King of Wands. The Knight of Wands. This is action. Action, action. The Nine of Cups. And the Fool in reverse. Clarified by the Eight of Cups, walking away, the Eight of Wands, the Strength card, and the Knight of Cups in reverse. These two energies are quite an oxymoron, because we have giving up and turning your back away from something and moving ahead, making progress instead. So maybe after an initial decision not to continue with the investigation, somebody will maybe take the decision to try to move forward with it, pressing to find, to achieve the truth. Developments might happen at some point in the future. The Nine of Cups clarified by the Strength card. This is the pursuit of a desire. So I do feel like that there's a will from somebody here to press forward, to not give up, to patiently wait to achieve a goal. And with this energy here, the Fool again, the Fool in reverse, and the Knight of Cups. This is unfortunately, it puts a stop to this energy that I'm seeing here. And it feels like even if there is a desire maybe to move forward even with investigation, these two cards in reverse are telling me that that step will not be taken. There will be no movement forward. Or maybe there will be an attempt, but there's blocked energy here. There's something that is kind of putting a damper on this ardent desire to move on with investigation and find out the truth. Somebody wants to move forward, wants to put the foot forward, wants to find the truth. wants to move, try to make some progress, but the energy is blocked. Why is this energy blocked? Clearly, I have Justice card on the bottom of the deck. 9 of Wands, the Hangman. Yeah, again, this stuck energy. 9 of Swords in reverse, 7 of Swords. So why is this energy blocked? Why they cannot keep going with the investigation? The World. This is closure. Putting an end to something. Things coming to full circle. Temperance. And Ace of Swords. And yet I see that there is here the energy that brings to the resolution of something. This is the truth with the Ace of Swords. So I think that maybe any progress in terms of an investigation is stalled for right now with this blocked energy here. But eventually the truth will come out somehow. We can only pray and hope and pray for the grieving parents of Sudiksha Konanki. Thank you for being with me for this additional reading about the mystery of the disappearance of the Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki in Punta Cana at the beginning of March. Please let me have your feedback. Share with me your ideas, your theories, or maybe you have heard some different pieces of information about this case. I'm really curious and invested in it. And let me know if you appreciated this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment. I always appreciate your comment, and I love to read your feedback every single time. Until I see you next time, many blessings.